What is up, planet Earth? Great to see you guys. And since you can see me here at this set, that can only mean one thing. That is right. The OH Report video podcast returns, baby, for a fourth season. All the high school sports, they're back in full swing. And we've already got a bunch of storylines to talk about. Plenty of action going down over about the last 10 days or so. So I'm here. My name's Brian Skowronski. I'm going to help dissect this thing like your health teacher in class. Chop it up a little bit like a sous chef with my boy, Mr. Big League Berardi, K-Mac, Trav, whatever you want to call him. He is here, and dude, I love summertime. I love like the free time, but as soon as fall sports hits, it just feels like it cures that summertime sadness or whatever. It's just this is the best time of year, bar none.
It felt like it too for a few days. Now it's going to get back up to 100 degrees in the next couple, but yeah, I'm just happy to be back. I was getting stir crazy over the summer, not doing much. So, to be able to get back out, work a pigskin, sleep for 3 hours, call a volleyball match, try match and stuff like that. We're back, baby. It's good. It's good. I'm happy to be back for you, the people, especially.
All right, and speaking of some people, we got a great lineup here coming on the show tonight.
Yeah.
We are going to hear from the coach that broke the streak over in Crestline. Unbelievable 29-game losing streak. Over with, people. Bulldogs fans, rejoice because we've got Hastings Robinette. He's going to be calling in here in a little bit to break down. I think they had a parade for him. There's already a statue being erected outside of Bulldog Stadium.
Hey, I've been there. We were on a 46-game losing streak in my sophomore year. We won our first game of the season. We did a parade. I'll talk more about that when we interview him, but it means a lot to a community to see your team finally succeed, especially after, a lot of troubling times. So congrats to Crestline, back in the win column. And, hey, if the playoffs were to start right now, they'd be in.
That's right. Number 10 in the region, I think I saw today. Mount Gilead also off to a 1-0 start on the gridiron. Their head coach, Mike Reid, he's going to give us some time here in a little bit as well to tell us about everything that's been going down on the reservation. We'll also have your top plays of the week, your nominees. We always leave it up to you to decide what is the best of the best, as well as your Friday night phenoms. So we're doing 10 and 10 for each of these. We've got so many football games on our calendar this year. Last year, we were doing like 5, 6 phenoms a week, maybe 5 top plays. Now we have enough room for 10 every week on our countdown, Travis.
That's saying a lot. That means we're busy. That means we're really busy. Really, really busy. I mean, we had 11 highlights or something like that for the pigskin on Friday night. Yeah, it was a long pigskin, but it was worth it because we were able to show you so many games out there on the OH Report.
And this is America. Football's number one. It's king. We're going to talk about that, but we'll also have the best of the rest at the end of the show. We're going to talk about some volleyball. You had a tri-match go down on Saturday. Some soccer. Of course, there were some big-time, I don't know if you'd call them upsets, but maybe a little
changing
bit on the
of the guard.
Could be in that backyard rivalry. We're going to break that down at the end of the show. And then also some cross-country, some unbelievable performances. And Travis and I are going to fill you in on all that coming up. But that's way later on.
We got another guy waiting to talk with us.
Let's begin the show with a man who has never lost the playoffs. Missed out on the playoffs, I should say, Travis, since he's been a coach, okay? This gentleman ended a long league title drought for this school, including back-to-back 10-0 regular seasons. It is none other than the pride of the Crestview Cougars, Mr. Steve Haverdill.
What's up, Coach?
Not much. How are you?
We're doing good. I know that your week's a little bit messed up because, of course, you got the Thursday game. But what are Monday nights typically like for you during football season? Is it an evening of relaxation, perhaps some NFL, hanging with family, or is it a scouting night? Fill us in on all the deets. Normal Monday night for Steve.
Normal Monday nights after our practices to get back and watch some more film, see how things went, and see if there's any corrections or anything from what we saw today. In practice and things like that we can fix or change leading up to the next day. Although, like you said, today is a short week. So
TV game, so I don't blame him for collecting his thoughts here and trying to get back into the zone. But Steve is back with us. And, Coach, I know that pretty much all head coaches, very regimented. You want to do something on a specific day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Usually you're doing the exact same routine. So given that you got Crestline coming over, short week, Thursday night game, how have things been a little bit different for you the last couple of days?
Well, Saturday it was our Saturday and Monday put together, and it was a little unique because our JVs were playing. We had coaching staff that wasn't there because they were taking care of the JVs. So it was a lot of mental, talking about mental stuff, visual stuff. Watched a lot of film, getting ready for today, which was going to be normally for us is our Tuesday day. So today was our defensive day, and so we put everything in that we had talked about on Saturday. Checks and formation rack, things like that. And tomorrow we'll get our offense in, and then Wednesday will be our walkthrough team meal, getting ready for Thursday night.
Let's revisit Friday real quick in that game against Seneca East. Obviously, you get off to the great start. You had the place jumping, big-time touchdown run right out of the gates. But then the Tigers started stacking up explosive plays like Jenga blocks there in that second quarter. What was your overall evaluation of your team, who fought really hard in that second half, but just had probably about like a 15-minute stretch where it just seemed like everything, it was just not going your way, big snowball effect?
Yeah, I mean, end of that first quarter, I think there was 10 seconds left. We gave up a score, and then it just kind of snowballed there where we went into just a kind of a bad quarter. We had some miscommunication errors defensively in our secondary. We had a mental lapse after a turnover. We didn't put that behind us right away to come out and play, and then boom, 2 big plays were there. Next thing you know, it's 28-7, and it's a huge hill to climb. In a half of football, and I thought our kids kept battling and fighting back, and we ran out of time at the end, and it's a good learning curve for us to understand that we've got to stay mentally strong throughout, no matter what happens, and we've got to make sure we're communicating, everybody's on the same page, and we're doing what our scheme says, and not being individualized, and so we took that into the weekend, and those are things that we got to work on getting ready for this week.
I thought that Lane Robinson down the stretch, and granted it was mop-up duty, take it with a grain of salt, but he really impressed me, ended up leading you guys on a touchdown drive late in that game. Do you see any potential for him maybe getting a little bit more PT? The quarterback position is the only weird one where you feel like you kind of can't really split reps with guys, but did he do enough, and have you seen much from him in practice where you would think maybe a chance for him to get a few more throws and get in there for some drives?
Lane's a very good player for us. He's a competitor. But Liam is our guy. He's all Ohioan, Lane did a really nice job in the time he stepped in, and nothing taken away from what he did. He got the reads, got the throws out. But in that mop-up time, Snake East isn't throwing their blitz package at us and changing disguising their coverages and things like that. But it was very nice to see that Lane could come in and take the reins if there is a need. With Liam. We thought it was a time, stepping back a little. He had dinged up a little bit on a couple plays, and so we thought an opportunity to rest him, get him off the field, and then, like I said, it's nice to know that if that ever happens again, that we can throw Lane in there, and he'll do a nice job for us as well.
All right, Kirtland coming to your place coming up on Thursday night, one of the most decorated small school programs in the entire Buckeye State, maybe even the entire region when you start looking outside of Ohio. I think they've been to 7 straight state championship games, Coach. So how did this matchup even come together? How did you get the conversations going to get the Hornets to want to come down and play you guys in Oliversburg?
A couple years ago, Tiger Laverdi and I coached in the North-South game up at Massillon. And he was very impressed. We had 3 kids in that game, Caden Cunningham, Owen Barker, and Addison Raymer. He was very impressed with those kids. He saw some clips of us, and we had talked a little bit about trying to play. One of my regrets with that group that we had, we had a 2-year stretch where we went 10-0, was that we didn't play in the regular season somebody that could really see where we were. And I truly believe it's that wrestling mentality. If you want to be the best, you have to play the best. You have to see what it's like and feel that. And so there was talks there at that time, and then he got a hold of me. Lutheran West was looking not to play them again, and we actually had a week 2. East Knox had dropped us, so we were looking for a week 2 game, and we were just in conversation. And I'm like, I got to have a home game. And he's like, well, we can come down to you guys and then make it a 2-year deal. And I just thought with this, I have a lot of faith in the guys that we have. And I thought, this would be a game for us, for these kids, a great experience. And what an honor it is for a team like Kirtland to want to play us. And it would give us a good idea every year you say you want to win. Your goal is to win a state title. Why not play the team that's been in 12 of the last 13 and has won 7 of them? So, and they get to come to us, and we're very excited about that, and excited to see what we can do on the field versus them.
They are the defending state champs, coming off a solid win over Downton, who finished as state runner-up last year in D7. Travis has a question for you about dealing with a hot team on a short week.
Yeah, tough. Got the tough loss. How do you get that team quickly turned around to get ready for another great team like Kirtland?
Well, I think it's easy. I mean, we're competitors. So, one thing we talked about on Saturday is we have to turn the page, and this is a great opportunity for us to have the state champs coming into our place. And we have nothing to lose. We told the kids, everybody in the state of Ohio is going to pick Kirtland to win, rightfully so, for their attributes and what they've been able to do. And, and we told them, listen, even probably people in the Owlsburg area are thinking that, we have no shot. The greatest thing about that is we can just let it fly and give it every single thing that we have and see what happens. And that's where you can play relaxed and take, as many chances as we can and play fast and do the things that we need to do and then see where we're at.
You guys scrimmaged Downton, last year's D7 state runners-up, but they played Kirtland in week 1. It was something like 55-36, 55-32, but you scrimmaged them a week ago to a 7-0 game. What does that say, kind of confidence-wise, that you stuck with a good Downton team that put up a really good shot against Kirtland?
Well, it shows, one, it's a scrimmage, so obviously, not everything's being thrown out there, but neither was it with us either. And that we can hang with a very good Downton team that hung with Kirtland. It shows that, listen, if we play to our ability, and obviously when you're playing a team like Kirtland, you can't make mistakes, you can't play behind the chains, you can't turn the ball over, the same old cliches, but you can against a team like this. But it shows that, that we can play with teams at that level when we put it all together. Obviously, I thought we did a nice job Friday night, except for that one quarter. And we can eliminate that quarter and play Crestview football like we know we can. I think that it can be interesting, and when it's all said and done, this is why you play the game. If everybody had big, big underdogs, and why play the game then, right? So this is why we play, because you just never know what can happen between those lines.
Hey, Brian, I mean, one of the most dangerous things to play against is a team with nothing to lose, right?
100%, Coach. And I know that, hey, man, you got some horses on your team too, so we're looking forward to seeing this battle go down coming up at your place on Thursday. We're going to be there for a broadcast. We have to do it on a delay, though, because there's a special TV contract in place. So if you have some details, if you can throw out to any of the fans out there that are watching of how they can tune in live and check it out.
Yeah, from what I understand, we WUAB and WOIO, which is Channel 19, Channel 43, out of Northeast Ohio, teamed up with the Cleveland Cavaliers to come up with the Thursday night game of the week. I believe last week was St. Ed's and Pickerington North. And then obviously week 2 they dabbed our game versus Kirtland. So that channel is going to broadcast it live on Thursday night. I think there's a live stream link too that I haven't gotten yet. But if you have those channels, you should be able to feed in and be able to watch the game live on Thursday night as well.
Hey, high praise. That's a big platform right there. But if they can't watch it live, we're the best place to find it, Coach, right after. Right here. Baby.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, Steve Haverdill, I know that you got a lot to do here on this Monday night, preparing for a swarm of hornets literally coming over to your place. So thank you so much for the time. Stay healthy and get it done this week.
Best of luck, Coach.
Thanks. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Of course. I just love his mentality and his attitude that, now with the expanded playoffs, it doesn't necessarily matter if you go out and you can lose. They showed last year,
absolutely.
4-6, and they got into the postseason. Go see what you're made of, and even if you lose by a couple of scores, you've seen literally the best in the entire state. You know what that looks like. I think you can only go up from there, assuming that you emerge from the game healthy.
The great Ric Flair once said, to be the man, you got to beat the man.
Yes, sir.
Woo! So, hey, might as well go up and go toe-to-toe with Kirtland if they can play it close. You never know. Like, play it close to the fourth quarter. You never know what can happen. Things like that. That's something with an upset. If they can keep it close early on, that gets Kirtland thinking, oh, geez, we can't get it. We can't shake them. We can't shake this team. That gives Crestview more confidence. So even if you keep it close, that gives you confidence that you can stick with the best in the state, and then you still have 8 games remaining after that. You never know, and you haven't even started your conference slate. They're still tied for first place in the Firelands Conference no matter what happens on Thursday night, too. Right. So a great learning experience, and like you said, with 16 teams going into the playoffs, you can win 5. You win 5 games. You beat Kirtland, you might get into the playoffs with 1 win. I mean, honestly, with the bonus points you get from them. But it doesn't matter what they play, just that they come out healthy on Thursday night.
Sure.
I think it's a very good learning experience for this team.
This might be one of the few exceptions where you would say there's going to be a silver lining in a loss if we can compete.
I'm rooting for the win.
Don't lose our pride. Well,
I go out there and say I'll pick Crestview to win.
Of course.
Why not? Upset of the year. It'd be like Seamus picking Georgia Tech and everybody else picking Florida State.
You got to do it with the accent, Travis. Do it proper. Okay. All right.
I'm Italiano, man. I can't do that.
Well, we had a ton of football games, of course, that went down on our airwaves just this past. Well, we had Thursday and Friday. I think like a total of
9
12
live
or 13
streams, 2 highlights.
From.
Yeah.
There was a lot, plus those Thursday night games, of course, as well. So without further ado, maybe the coolest thing that we do every single year during football season, let's introduce you to the nominees for your top 10 plays of the week.
Here comes your top 10 plays of the week, presented exclusively by Spherion Mid-Ohio. Nominee number 1, taking us all the way back to Thursday night, where Braden Campbell would emerge as a star for the new look Galleon offense, taking this simple little drag route and turning Winford's second level into a whole bunch of would-be tacklers. 33-yard grab and go, gonna take him all the way into the back of the end zone. Huge night for Campbell and a blowout win of the Royals. Many tried, all would fail to try to tame this Tiger. As soon as he got loose, no one was gonna take him down. Much tighter affair at nominee number 2, closing seconds at carry, and Jacoby Ellis about to be a hero. You're going to see him catch the rock, spin away from a Blue Devils defender, and dive in for the game-winning score on the road. Hopewell Loudon steals one in carry country. 14-yard chicken dinner winner delivered by a backup QB, Braylon Martinez. Clutch. Take you down to the reservation now, where opening kickoff to start the second half turned into a straight line sprint for Mount Gilead's Carson Trainer, who's going to shift into 5th gear as he accelerates 82 yards all the way back for the score. Indians would go on to win big over Triad. Slow start for Ontario at home in the backyard rivalry, but Bob Penn Miller about to get things cooking with the deep ball, making a splash here right in the pool for a 56-yard touchdown. One of a pair of scores for Noah on the night, snatching the rock away from a Lexington defender, and a come-from-behind 31-14 win over the Minutemen as he goes over the purple and gold. Final seconds coming up here in Olivesburg, where it's going to be 4th down and long, and pretty good coverage, I'd say, on the play, but the 3-ring circus hits in town, showing off the juggling act. Tyson Ringler collecting the touchdown grab in the corner of the zone. Crazy concentration by this Crestview senior wideout, tipping the pass to himself for the score. Let's get in a good old yak here at nominee number 6. Shelby's Brady Bowman takes a quick flare out and navigates around the field like Pac-Man avoiding Ghost to snack on a pretzel. 33-yard catch and run all the way into the zone to kick off the season, munching up a whole line of dots, yum, 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 in a big victory, week 1 over rival Madison. When you live in a castle, you gotta protect the perimeter, and that's exactly what Jack Swinger is about to do here, getting on the offensive side of things after he plays some big-time defense. 69-yard return off the interception, gonna put Northmore up 4 scores in just 15 minutes of action against visiting Upper Sandusky, as the Golden Knights defend their 100-yard parcel of land in the Battle of North Bloomfield Township, as Wenger wards off the invaders for a nice long interception and run back. Now it's time for the Viking ships to roll into Pater, because River Valley's Chase Ebert got a taste for some crepes. And he wants one right now. Passing the sugar to Joshua Crepes. 36-yard journey. What a dart for 6 and a showdown against Ashland. Roll back the clocks like Doc Brown and his DeLorean at nominee number 9, where Connor McMichael J. Fox gassing up the flux capacitor to 85, and not even a river pilot gonna catch him. 65-yard touchdown jump for the Colonel Crawford tailback and a 41-point win at the Eagles Nest. Worthington Christian would fall behind quickly at Danville, but our final nominee going to show Warriors QB Thomas Hardings chuck a third down dart to Cam Robinson for a nice 45-yard score to turn up some heat on the Devils. They wouldn't get the win, but there was a nice mix of finesse and Tabasco all peppered into this touchdown rocket to round out the end of our top 10 countdown. Comment below now for your favorite play of the week. Winners will be announced on Friday.
And if you comment right now live during the podcast, of course, it counts for not 1 but 2 votes, so it's a double dip. Choose your favorite player. I think that we did get the Tigers. That's Jacob Chambers, right? Mm-hmm. The score that tutty. Yes. I think somebody commented here somewhere on the Facebook, but that sounded right. We'll get that fixed. We'll get that updated for you guys, and when we post it out there for all the votes. But, dude, we had some pretty good plays this week. Some clutch ones down in the red zone. We saw some big-time throws, defensive plays, so a nice little variety pack here to get the season kicked off.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta pull out the big plays, especially if you want the big wins early on. I mean, Hopewell Loudon, huge play at the end to beat Carey. A couple other plays. Galleon impressing me with that big one over Winford. Thought maybe Winford would be a little bit better. Maybe they are, or maybe Gallion's just that good. But he's showing out early on gets you excited for what they can do in the next 9 weeks.
I think we had a fun debate going down here at OH Report World headquarters the day before that Gallion-Winford game, and I think everybody collectively, it was that same thing like Seamus on the game day where we all felt like, dude, Winford's going to be able to keep this close, if not win this thing. And there was one man and one man only. I'm not going to give him too much credit. I won't even drop his name. But he was like, I've been watching Galleon during the preseason. I went to the Jamboree. They can't be stopped on offense.
Yeah.
They weren't stopped on offense. So he was kind of right. And I do look forward to this MOAC race. There's going to be so many teams that are right there near the top. I don't know that there's going to be any down team. I mean, you hate to say, but maybe Clear Fork would be the one squad that you look at. Wasn't a great outing for them, but against a really good Perkins squad. Now they got to go to Granville for a really tough week 2 game. But outside of the Colts, who might get it together when they get into the league schedule, I could see a whole bunch of teams winning 6 games or more. I think it could shake out like that, just that much parity.
Absolutely. I mean, it's crazy what we can see here. Especially, I'm looking at some comments. Mr. Klein, we're actually going to show the phenoms here coming up. Maybe you'll see Cale Lewis then. It's a tease.
Little teaser. Do we even need to hold back? Like, I bet the people. Let's give the people what they want.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's give it now.
I've tossed this over to you. It's your duties this year for the phenoms, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, we'll see if Mr. Klein, if Cale Lewis is in there, but it is time now for our first edition of Season 4, our Friday Night Phenominees. Let's see it. Time now for the first Friday Night Phenominees of the season, brought to you by the fine folks at Spherion, Mid-Ohio. Our first nominee didn't have Hillsdale fans wondering for long who the next heir to the throne at quarterback would be, replacing Jack Fickus, as junior Cale Lewis needed only 24 minutes to put up crazy numbers, going 9 of 13 passing for 238 yards and 6. Yes, I said 6 touchdowns. Just think about this. Out of his 9 completions, only 3 of them didn't go to the house. Hillsdale has its next quarterback. To Olivesburg for nominee number 2, as Seneca East Taylor Young recorded half of the Tigers' offense on opening night at Crestview, catching the ball 8 times for 145 yards and 2 scores, while also rushing 4 times for 57 yards and another score, as Seneca East sweeps their home-and-home series with the Cougars. Now for nominee number 3. There are high expectations in North Bloomfield Township, and A.J. Bauer showed why on Friday night. The All-Ohio quarterback lit up the skies over the Castle, averaging over 30 yards per throw, totaling 322 yards on 10 completions with 3 touchdowns, as the Golden Knights are off to a rolling start. To number 4 now. You know the saying, no one likes a know-it-all? But they sure do like a do-it-all, and that's exactly what Mount Gilead's Cam Vickers did on Friday night against Triad, shining in all 3 aspects of the game. On offense, he rushed 20 times for 161 yards and a score. On special teams, he recovered a blocked punt and took it in for another score. And on defense, he recorded not 1, not 2, but 3 sacks as the Indians roll to a 1-0 record. Nominee number 5 is continuing the tradition at Cary High School of run-you-over power football, as the Blue Devils' Eli Steen put on a heroic performance against Hopewell Loudon, rushing 25 times for 147 yards and a score while adding a 2-point conversion run as well. Cary might have lost in the final seconds, but they showed everyone that they are yet again a force to be reckoned with in Division 6, Region 22. Nom number 6 comes from Marion County as Ashland went to Caledonia and pulled out a late win over River Valley thanks to the stellar play from quarterback Nathan Bernhard, who showed why he's a Division I recruit, throwing for 163 through the air while also running for 75 with 3 total touchdowns, including the game-winning throw with 1:48 left as the Arrows are off to a 1-0 start. Nom number 7 did what he did all of last year, and that is show out in many aspects of the game. Ontario athlete Bogpin Miller averaged 31 yards per completion with 2 touchdowns through the air, while also rushing for 96 yards. But he wasn't done there. He also picked off a pass in his first game ever playing on the defensive side of the ball. A complete effort by the Ohio State commit. Nominee number 8, where 1 year ago the Colonel Crawford Eagles needed a late comeback to defeat River. Well, Connor McMichael made sure that wasn't the case this season as he sunk the Pilots to the tune of 178 rush yards on 12 carries and 46 receiving yards on 2 catches while reaching the end zone 3 times in their opening night route on Thursday night. Our 9th nominee has the Galleon Tigers off to a very strong start as quarterback Braxton Prosser did exactly what a signal caller on a team with a great rushing attack should do. 8 of 10 through the air for 129 yards while also showing off the legs for 36 more yards as he totaled 4 tutties as the Tigers handle Winford 49-13 and are 1-0. To our final nominee now. The Madison Rams had their sights on a major upset, trailing by only a score at the half against Shelby. But Braden DeVito showed why he's one of the top signal callers in the area, leading a second-half romp that had him finish with a phenomenal 405 passing yards and 2 scores, while also adding 2 more scores on the ground, as the Grant Milliron Trophy will remain once again in Shelby, Ohio. It is time now to vote for your favorite nominee for Phenom of Friday night. Brought to you by Sphere Yard, Mid-Ohio. Time.
How cool, man. Some big-time performances, and I saw the comment come in about Kel Lewis. Of course we're going to put him on there.
Yeah.
Who do you think we are? 6 touchdowns, and he's not going to get featured in his first start?
That was the top play nominees. He can't get 6 touchdowns in one play, but yeah, that actually might get state recognition as well because somehow the state prep media association let us get into it. So you know that play, AJ Bowers play. A bunch of area athletes I think are going to make it into the newspapers all around the state. And Kale Lewis, absolutely one of those. The first half, and Jack Fickus graduated, Brian, thinking who's going to be the quarterback at Hillsdale. It only took 24 minutes for fans to realize they got their guy for at least the next 2 seasons.
You want to know who delivered a brand new couch to my house on Friday?
Is it Mark Fickus and Fickus Furniture?
How about Jack Fickus came through?
Really?
Got delivered to college on Sunday by Mark Fickus, who did come by the crib again today. But Thickest Furniture, by the way, 7 thumbs up. I cannot say enough great things about them. Delivered it, took my old couch. We had some problems with some electronics. He shows up again today. We're talking a little bit of high school football, but really cool to continue that lineage that they've had at quarterback here over these last several seasons. Trevor Klein, he's the quarterback whisperer, I think. He kind of knows what he's doing over there, and really impressive stuff. Travis, have you ever heard of a parade for victory after 1 week, one game?
Yes, I was a part of it. So, story time real quick.
Yes.
Playing for Bishop Donahue. I was thinking about wearing a Bishop Donahue jersey, but this is the biggest game West Virginia's opened up with since 1998, so I had to wear the WVU jersey. Bishop Donahue, my freshman year I played, I was a left tackle, 5'6", 155 pounds. That's because we only had 13 players on the team. We were 0-8, riding a 44-game losing streak, played Hannon, Ohio, Hannon, West Virginia, and took them to overtime and lost by 2. Tough. Rode it to 46 games. First game sophomore year, we played Connaughton Valley, a team that we've seen on the OH report when they played East Knox. Beat them, and we had a parade. The bus paraded through town, people out on their porches cheering and stuff. It means a lot to break a streak like that because, you get into 10, 15, 20, 30, 35, 40 for us, and you think, is it ever going to end? And when it does, it's just not only is it a monkey off your back, it's just like, hey, things are finally starting to turn around for us. We ended up winning 4 games that year, and that was the turning point because after that we lost. We didn't lose more than 6 games in a season until the school got shut down. I'm not going to get into that because that was just a bunch of malarkey why that happened. But a turning point. It only takes one win to really change a program, and hopefully that's what happened for the Crestline Bulldogs. I'm so happy for them that they got to win because they get to experience something like that. So some people thinking, oh, why'd you have a parade? You only won 1 game in the last. It means a lot to a community and to a program like that.
They didn't quite get on your guys' level.
Which is really good. I'm really happy they didn't too.
However, 29 in a row. So we're talking almost 3 consecutive seasons, and it took one man for the job to end the streak. The cloud has been lifted. Please welcome to the program, Mr. Hastings Robinette.
Appreciate it, fellas. Appreciate it.
Hastings, my guy, you got to tell me and give me an exact head count on this. How many free adult beverages have you been offered in Crestline over these last few days?
You know what? It's funny enough, as soon as we got done and celebrated that night, we went right back to the drawing board. We're ready to roll for next week, 1 week at a time, but we're not satisfied.
Well, I obviously I saw on the social media, I read some posts encouraging everybody in the Crestline community that was home on Friday to come out and be a part of welcoming you guys back into town. So how was the midnight crowd for your return home, like as some world conquerors out there? What was it like?
You know what? I got notified probably about 5 minutes before we left from the bus. They said, hey, we're going to do a carpool type deal where everybody follows, whatever. And we got into town and we saw the police officers. We saw everybody out front of their yards. We probably had, I'm not kidding you, 20 to 50 vehicles lined up just behind us. It was awesome, honestly. And, you have outside looking in saying, oh, like you guys said, it's 1 game. But when it's been almost 4 years since that 1 game, for a town like Crestline, as close-knit as it is, it was awesome. It really was.
Normally it's not a good thing when you get home and cops are waiting for you, and then there's probably inebriated people out on their lawn screaming. But for you guys, that was the perfect momentum in the wave, exactly that you needed to welcome you home. And we've got some video clips here from right at the end of the game. I think we got a big hug coming up here. Yeah, there it is. So, just what can you tell me about? Tell me about it.
That would be Coach Kevin Sipes. He was the head coach. I would have been 5 years ago. I was his offensive coordinator, and for him to be the first one to come over and give me that bear hug, it meant a lot. It really did. Yeah,
throw some context and some. Just bring me into the emotion here when you got some kids running out here. They want a big hug. It's a huge moment. And you've just broken the football curse for an entire town.
You know what? My first thought, and my thought process the whole time was the kids, as far as the guys on the team. When I was in the interviewing process, I was told that the kids coming up that were going to be seniors were, 0-29, and it just, I couldn't believe it, and as soon as I was hired on, we went straight to work. We didn't even start the actual football aspect of it right away. We wanted to get on a personal level with the kids. We started going to the weight room with them. We actually worked out with them as far as even, down to the cardio aspect of workouts. And we formed that bond before we even got on the football field. And they bought in, and I couldn't ask for more right now. So I appreciate it.
Well, I think it shows, Coach. You got a nice chiseled chin here that we see coming through, with a nice on the monitor, and that's a perfect segue into my next question, because obviously when you've had that much misery, not just as a program but as a senior class, coming in as a first-year coach, how do you deliver a positive message that doesn't fall on deaf ears so that you can really start a direction for them?
For me, I knew coming in, they had, I was their third head coach in 4 years. And my big thing was I wasn't going to come in and talk the game. I wanted to show it. Anybody can say anything to try to make them seem like they're the next big thing, next coach, whatever. My thing was bond with these kids, show them you care, not just say it, and that was our big goal. Myself, my D coordinator, who was the first hire I actually made, Justin Feeman, he was on the staff with Coach Sype as well. And our big thing was forming bonds with these guys, like I said, before we even hit the football field. I don't just care about them on the field. I care about off the field, more so than anything. Because obviously there's life after sports, and that's the aspect we really wanted to concentrate on. And it's translated into football field. So it's been great. Really
I've heard a lot of coaches say that they're not necessarily in the coaching business, they're in the people business. So I think you hit the nail right on the head right there. Just bonding with these young kids that are just looking for something to believe in. Travis, you were part of something even worse. What was some of the messaging? How did the coaches for you, when you've almost lost 50 games in a row, really start to pick up your spirit? Anything special you remember?
Well, it was, my freshman year, we only had, like I said, 12, 13 players on the team. So we just played, one, to keep the program alive, and two, just to go out there and play. And we started building something. We got some experience. Like I said, we scored the most points I think we had in 3 years that season. But it was just more about getting reps, getting confidence, and things like that. And, once we finally did break the streak, I understand just the happiness and everything, Coach. But, I know what it meant to me and our team, but what did that moment mean to not only you, but your staff, the players, and some of those community members that stuck through those 20-plus losses on the team?
So for us, it's kind of unique. My entire staff's from Crestline. They either lived in – actually, we've all played for Crestline. So that was a unique thing for us, is we've been, not necessarily in their shoes as far as the losing streaks and whatnot, but we know what football means to this town, and there's such a big pride in football that's kind of been missing, in the last 3 to 4 years. So we just wanted to bring that back. And even for us, it was emotional for us, being from here, playing here, born and raised here. It meant a lot to myself, the staff, and again, the excitement level is just phenomenal. It really is. The school spirit today, I think they all dressed in blue for to celebrate that, and it's great to see. It's exciting for sure.
So not just a victory, Coach, but you dropped 44 points on Buckeye Central. We did the math. That's 10 more points than this team scored all of 2023 combined. So are you nervous even a little bit that you might have set the bar a little bit too high, and it'll be tough to have an encore performance in week 2 or 3?
You know what? We were on the way home on the bus, and I was talking to my staff, and I looked at them. I said, "Fellas, we got expectations now." We went out, and I think we had around 450 yards of offense. We put up 44 points, and it's like the expectations are real now. And I can't wait to see Hudson Stadium this Saturday.
Did you see a bit of a different team on the field for practice today, just in terms of confidence? Are they starting to drink a little bit of their own Kool-Aid and feeling like, new year, new Bulldogs, who cares what happened the last few years?
I'll tell you what, they need to drink a ton of Kool-Aid, because if you saw the amount of cramps that we had Friday night, they need to drink about a gallon a day. No, but they even said today, we got the win, great, got the monkey off our back, but they're ready to go. They're ready for the next one. So that's the biggest thing for me was, staying focused with that. You don't want to get a win and then become, satisfied. So that was the big thing for us, to just keep our nose on the grindstone and keep going.
Next one's a tough one. Home opener Friday. Waynesfield Goshen coming to your place, the defending Northwest Central League champs, who actually they beat you up pretty good, 63-0 last year. So don't give too much away, but can we just get a little bit of a preview of the pregame speech that you might use to try to get the boys pumped up heading out for that one on Friday?
I think it's going to go back to not having that monkey on the back. And, nobody thinks about the pressure that, even as a kid, you feel knowing that, you haven't won a game at the high school level in football. And they can play now. They can have fun. They can enjoy themselves and play and not have to worry about, the 29-game streak or whatever the case may be. So now they can have fun and play football.
Well, we're all looking forward to the encore coming up in week 2, Coach. So best of luck to you. Stay healthy and keep bringing back those dubs for Crestline. You will be a legend in that town if you can breed a winner out there. I tell you what.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Coach.
Our pleasure. The coach of the
have a good night, fellas.
undefeated
Yeah, you too.
Crestline Bulldogs. Man, that's got to be good to hear, right? Hastings
in
Robinette.
playoff position. They control their own destiny right now. I mean, how long has it been since Crestline fans have said that at all?
Well,
it's just a great feeling that you can get into that mindset right now.
If I remember right, I was there 2018 when I taught, and they went 5-5 in the regular season and missed out on the postseason. Before that, I can't remember if they had got in recently or not, but most of the talk at Crestline is you should have seen us back in the day. I know that they in the 90s they had some really good teams, and previous to that, plenty of tradition, 50s, 60s, 70s. So it's a really tough place right now to win because so many students are open enrolling and they're going to places like Ontario that's not that far, like a Colonel Crawford, Winford, Bucyrus. They just got to keep some of their own dudes there, and if they can, and I think that they got someone who came in.
I was about to say from
really
Lexington that went for 222 on the ground or something like that. So sometimes you can need a little bit of influx to that outside. I mean, Lexington, they showed they were a winner last year. You get that confidence coming in, showing, hey, if we can do this, we can win. And I saw in an article that actually he came up to coach and said, hey, the sweep is open. We need to run this a lot, and they did, and they ran all over. So you get that those outside eyes in there. It helps out, and hey, they got to win. No more losing streak. They are 1-0 right now, looking to go 2-0. It's all that matters.
And I think that connectivity that he has with the players, the fact that he would be like, okay, you're seeing something out there. You're within the trenches. You're watching it develop in front of your own eyes. Let's go ahead and run with it. And then it worked out. Speaking of working out, Travis, for our next guest, things have really been working out in his new shade of purple that he's been donning over
in
these last
that brand
few
new
years.
Locker room too.
Oh, it's a gorgeous new facility down in Mount Gilead, where our next guest is calling in from for the 1-0 Indians football team. Please give it up for the one, the only, Mike Reid.
What's up, Coach?
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Coach, we're doing great. Thanks for calling in. I know that it's been a tough task just to get some video to pop up on the screen, so thanks for fighting it out, battling with it, and getting on here with us to talk a little football.
Well, I sure appreciate it. I had to grab one of my assistants and bring him into my office here and help this old guy out with that stuff. So thanks for being patient and having me on tonight.
Hey, self-awareness is everything, Coach. As long as you understand that you're not the man for the job, it's best just to get out of the way. But you've been doing your job for the entire duration of my life. 39 years you've been coaching. Does the positive effect ever wear off when you get a nice week 1 win and come out of the gates, or are you still just brimming and feeling great after a big-time Friday night?
Well, I tell you what, getting that win in week 1 is huge. And I found out way too late in my career that not celebrating every victory is a terrible sin. So we sure appreciate the victories here at Mount Gilead, especially. The guys came out strong, and so it was a big win. We saw a lot of positives, a lot of things to work on as well.
And a lot going on down at the reservation right now. You got those fancy new lights at the stadium. You got the brand new locker rooms that Travis and I got to go walk through. So the facilities are looking fantastic. You're upgraded all the way around. Opening up the venue with the new duds. Did it feel like maybe even a little bit of a relief this last Friday that you got it done when you unveil everything?
Oh, absolutely. We got a very forward-thinking Board of Education here at Mount Gilead, and administrative team. And when I came here 4 years ago, We talked about things to give kids a little bit of pride in the program and some great facilities. And it's a tremendous community. It's a great place to be. And to your point, it's 100% awesome to be able to open that up with a big victory Friday night.
And wins have not been commonplace down there in Mount Gilead. I know that you gave them their first winning season in like a couple of decades when you were the coach of the year a couple of years ago in the KMAC. You take a little bit of a step back in terms of the success on paper and wins and losses, just 3 of them for you last year, Coach. But as we just heard from our previous guest who said that it's just really about connecting with the kids, there's a lot more than just the X's and O's to football. What are some things that you're trying to do to change the mindset down there and just make them feel like we've got a winning culture going on? It doesn't necessarily matter per se what the past has, it's where we're working towards in the future.
Well, I steal a little bit from Jim Tressel on that aspect, and a lot of coaches that I used to have, including my old mentor here, Paul Bear Bremagen, that we become better people first, and we train young guys on how to grow and become fine young men first. The football comes easy, so we get them out in the community, doing some community service projects, making sure that they understand what it means to take care of other people, what a family really feels like, and what that whole team mentality feels like. And we got kids to buy in really as soon as I got here. These kids here are great, and we had a good group of seniors that had translated into a lot of wins on the field. And unfortunately, we took a hit losing some of those seniors, but last year we played a lot of kids, won 3 ball games, and this offseason has been tremendous because the guys have really developed a great chemistry. A lot of those young kids we played last year, we've done a lot of community service projects together. We've gone out and had a lot of fun dates together. We went down to the Ohio State spring game together. We took them up to the Hall of Fame, toured Canton Fawcett Stadium, which a lot of people would say it's a long, I'm sorry, I guess it's Tom Benson Stadium now. Long way off for Mount Gilead to be dreaming of a state title. But if you don't dream it first, you're never going to achieve it. So, we've been doing a lot of things like that just to change the whole mentality, the whole attitude. The field's beautiful. We're extremely lucky to have the field, the facilities, new uniforms, the whole 9 yards. And it just adds to the excitement. There was an incredible amount of energy here this past Friday that we want to continue to have the next 9 and hopefully more weeks.
And I know that our K-Mac Trav was down there taking in all the excitement. You've been around the team a little bit this summer, so you're feeling it. You're connected with the vibes here, Trav, and you're our K-Mac guy. Just what are you starting to get that purple fever here?
A little bit. Let's first. Mount Gilead football now, you think about the run game, and what really impressed me, Coach, about Friday night was your defensive and offensive line. It seemed like you won each battle of the snap there. Defensive line, you got a lot of sacks on the night. Let me just pull up the stats right now. Let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 11 sacks total, including 3 from Cam Vickers, who's up for our Friday Night Phenom, and it'll probably be highlighted in the state newspapers too. We nominated him for that. But just it seems like you have some big uglies up there on the offensive and defensive line, and then when you have the running attack of Cam Vickers, who's 6'2", 200 in the roster. You have Elliott Jones, who's 6 foot 170. It just seems like you just get these guys running in front of these big guys, you're going to be going downfield.
Well, yeah, one of the first things, the first aspects of culture we changed here was changing the way we looked at the offensive line and defensive line when I came in. They have a special area in the locker room that they call ground and pound, where only the linemen, that's where all their lockers are. In the new locker room, they got a special corner there. They take pride in that. And, it's true. Every coach will tell you everything starts up front. These guys are really buying into that concept. And, all those boys up front on both sides of the ball take a lot of pride in what they do. And, Cam and Elliott and Carson, those guys that run behind them offensively will tell you those guys are doing a heck of a job opening up holes for them. And even on the defensive side, Cam was talking to me at the workout this afternoon, how he didn't get touched because the D linemen were demanding double teams. So the linebackers could run free. So the guys are really buying into the team concept on that. But yeah, I'm awful proud of the guys up front. They sure work hard, and my coaches are the guys up front. Mike Reid, the second, Dustin Baker, and Jared Rule do a great job with those guys on both sides of the ball.
And going back to last year for a second, only 3 wins, but you and I have talked about this many times. You guys were competitive in each game. I know Danville pulled away late to make it look like a blowout, but every game, even though if they were losses, you guys were competitive, and you just weren't able to finish last year. But it seems like you were able to learn a lot from that because you really finished at least in week 1, and it feels like that learning experience could go far for you guys this year.
Absolutely, and you want to win games every single year, and we didn't plan on only winning 3 last year, of course. But the guys really competed hard. They, like you said, they did come out of the gate hard in almost every single game. And Danville was quite a force to reckon with last year. It's kind of hard to keep up with them, but I loved how the guys attacked that game nonetheless. 100%. What we talked about this winter was, no more excuses. Don't leave any unfinished business. We can look at different points in each one of our losses last year and talk about where we broke down. And we could use a lot of different excuses. Maybe it was this, maybe it was what we thought was a bad call or something like that. And maybe a player allowed themselves to bank an excuse on that. But we kind of got a motto this year, considering the excuses. No one cares. We got to work harder. We even got a banner in the locker room that says that. And the guys have really gone with that motto: leave no unfinished business, leave no doubts. It's on our camp shorts. Leave no doubts. We gotta grab our own responsibility. And if we win, we win together. Everybody's happy. If we lose, we got to be real honest with ourselves and fix what's broken.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what this team can do this season. But let's change channels here for a second. Everybody watching right now, it says Mike Reid joins us from the Bears Den. I kind of changed that a little bit, and then in our intro for the game on Friday night, you and I had a conversation in email, I think it was Thursday night, about maybe championing a new name to the field and call it the Bears Den. Now, Coach, I want you to get into story time, explain what you told me about Paul Bear Bremingen and why we should name it the Bears Den after him. I'll let you have the floor.
I appreciate that. First and foremost, Coach Bremingen passed away around 2006, 2007, somewhere in there. And it was like I lost another father. He was my mentor. I played for him a couple of seasons here before he left and went to River Valley. I coached with him in a reconstruction project over at Ridgedale, turned them into a playoff team in the early 90s. And I learned so much from him, but most of it was about taking care of people and how to navigate through life. And what he did here at Mount Gilead was a result of him taking care of people. And I don't want his name to really ever be forgotten. And when we go out to that field, I see those new lights, the new field, and, I just don't feel like Mount Gilead football would be where it is without Coach Bremingen. He touched so many lives. He changed so many lives, and maybe in a lot of cases saved a lot of lives. But won a lot of football games too. So he's the winningest coach here at Mount Gilead by far. Somewhere around 100 wins, over 16 seasons, 6 conference titles. We've had a football program at Mount Gilead for 120 years, and we only have 10 titles, and he has 6 of those. His teams were ranked in the top 10 in the Associated Press poll back before they had playoffs, and just barely missed when they did start having playoffs. But back then, they only took the top 2 from each region, so you had to be really, really good to get in those top 2. But I probably wouldn't be teaching history and coaching football had it not been for the influence of Paul Bear Bremingen. He started the track program here as well, and had a lot of success in track and field as well. And under his tenure, we had the first all-weather track in Central Ohio. There's a lot of big meets held here with a lot of teams from all over the state that came here. And he passed the baton off in track. And the track program has done a really good job in keeping a nice continuity with coaches. And holy cow, the track team here is phenomenal. They go state every year and have state champions every year. Football, we want to get it back to that point to where it was when Bear was here, and then maybe go a little bit farther ourselves. So I'll be real happy if we can get that done before I retire, whenever that happens to be. I don't plan on doing it anytime soon.
Well, I mean, Coach, you got them to their first playoff appearance in 2022. You were the KMAC Coach of the Year in 2022, and it seems like, you got things going. First step, be 1-0. then focus on week 2, which is at Upper Sandusky. But what will you guys need to do? Answer this question for me. Mount Gilead will make the playoffs this season if
we remain consistent, if we keep that team chemistry that we have right now, and we believe in each other, no matter if things are going good or bad, we take care of each other like the brothers that we are, and we just remain consistent throughout the entire season and put games together like we did this past Friday. Upper Sandusky's a whole nother bird, but we got a chance to go 2-0. That's the best thing about being 1-0. And if we're 2-0, the best thing is we get a chance to be 3-0. So we take them one at a time, and we continue to commit to get better, take care of each other, take care of ourselves, do our own jobs, and just develop that consistency.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to seeing you develop that throughout the course of the year. Of course, we're going to be at all of your home games, and since we're working with pretty much all the KMAC teams, I think you're on like 8 of our broadcasts. Not going to have you live and free coming up this week, but pretty much every other week. So best of luck to you on the road up at Upper. Go get a win, and I guarantee the people of Mount Gilead, they're going to start getting that purple fever, man. It's going to start setting in, and you go 2-0.
Well, I sure appreciate what you guys do for all the young people around North Central Ohio. This OH Report is awesome, and thanks for having me on tonight, guys.
All right, our pleasure. Thanks so much,
Coach.
Mr. Mike Reid from the Bears Den, and I'm glad that he shared that story time because I was really confused when I saw that graphic pop up.
That's why
I was like,
I told you about that.
Indians hunt bear, but what? It's so that they might be able to dovetail that and make that into some type of a cool artwork, though. I think.
Well, I didn't even know about. He sent me an email late Thursday night explaining, he 200 total wins as a coach, over 16 years at Mount Gilead, the longest tenure coach ever. They had football since the 1890s, something like that. But just now seeing that he was the track coach too, you can make that whole complex the Bears Den. So I told him on Friday when I talked to them before the game, I said, hey, I'm going to be your number 1 champion to try and get that changed over there. So I think as us as OH reporters, I think we should try and not press it too much, but the folks down at Mount Gilead, that could be a cool little idea for them to have it down there.
Yeah, especially with the new facilities. They don't have any branding up right now, so there's a perfect storm right now perhaps coming through that they could all make that happen.
And Mount Gilead, I was really impressed with them in week 1. Don't know if it's going to be, they can knock off maybe a Northmore, East Knox, Danville, something like that. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do. But after what I saw with Northmore as well, I mean, they're still going to stay a little bit on top of my, the power rankings, things like that. But Mount Gilead, I really think they just continue to do what they're doing. They're going to be in the playoffs for the second time. And, hey, maybe make it the first ever home playoff game at the Bears Den. Something will be putting live and free, maybe in week 11, something like that. But really, I am rooting for this team. They're a bunch of good kids, great coaching staff. Really like what Coach Reid's done. He's a really good coach.
Haven't been 2-0 in quite some time. Then they'll get Grove City Christian coming to their place.
Those were 2 of the Triad and Grove City were wins last year.
So could potentially see this team moving into KMAC play where they do open up with Danville, but at least, hey, you find out where you're at right away with the defending champs. Could be 3-0, but hey, take one game at a time. That's all.
One bite at a time.
Best part about 1-0, go to 2-0, and if you win 2 in a row, they call it a winning streak, Travis.
Yes, they do. Yes,
Coach
they
Brown
do.
taught me that. All right, buddy. Let's see where we go from here. How about the best of the rest?
Yeah, I think that's our last topic. We've been jumping around, but let's get the best of the rest and then get out of here.
Yeah, saved a little space here at the end of the program because we just had some really cool things that happened, of course, outside of
a lot of stuff going on week number 1 for the OH Report, right? We've been busy already.
It was a game every single night for me. Took in a couple on Saturday as well. You took in a 3-pack. But I'll go first, and I just want to start by applauding the Ontario soccer team, not just the girls, but the boys getting it done on the road at the Lexington Soccer Complex. It had not been since 2017 in the playoffs since we saw the Warriors knock off Lexington, which they've been the beast in our area. Not just our area, the region for soccer.
How many straight matches was it that Ontario lost to Lex?
11-match not losing streak. I think there was a draw in there, but they had not won in a dozen.
And we had most of those matches, too, on the OH Report.
And then the girls, too. I mean, let's give them their love. Ontario goes on the road, and they've been really in this matchup, it's been low scoring. It seems like a lot lately, and it feels like Lexington, they'll just grind it out, and then eventually they'll get one. Wasn't the case in this match, and shout out to the Lady Warriors and Layla Stevens, a spot start at keeper because their starter unavailable, got a shoulder injury going on, but it didn't really matter. I think the Lady Warriors, in total, they outshot the Lady Lex something like 30-3 in the match. So I think that the 3-0 score is even deceptive. I heard Coach Larry tell him at halftime when it was just 1-0, he was just like, girls, I'm happy for you, but at the same time, we 18-1
keep
was
the foot
shots.
Keep the foot on the gas,
Put that
too.
pedal to the metal, get it done. So I thought it was fantastic for both of these programs. Now, if you're down in the purple and gold, you're not feeling quite that way. I think that there was a little bit of frustration for Buck Morton and his staff, and they've got a couple of girls out right now, but they weren't 100% pleased with the outcome. They know that Ontario is going to be the best team in the area, I think, on paper, and they didn't exactly go toe-to-toe like we've seen from years past. So for Lexington, who is still kind of searching for themselves, graduated a bunch of seniors from a year ago, trying to find really what their identity is going to be this year. They're kind of limited on playmakers, Travis, and this might have to be kind of scoring by committee for them. And it's a bit of an open OCC for them. I think that's some of the good news. We saw Madison, who got off to a 3-0 start. They just lost the game against Norwalk the other day.
That was kind of surprising, too.
Shocked me when I saw that score because I thought Lady Rams against a Norwalk, which perennially they've taken care of, didn't happen. So shout out to Lady Warriors. Shout out to the boys, though. Run those clips. That was definitely the most impressive performance because we talked about how long the win streak had been, or the lack thereof. 2017 in the playoffs, they ended up losing to Lexington actually during their regular season that year, and then got them. Wow, how long? Kids have already graduated college that played on that team for Ontario. They're already out in the real world wearing suits, and they got full beards. They're out of the bars. And now they finally get to watch their brethren come out here and get a dub.
I mean, this is the rivalry. I mean, in soccer in this area, it's this matchup and then Ontario Madison girls soccer. But on the boys' side, it is Lex Ontario. So for the Warriors, for Coach Armstrong, really happy for him, how he's been able to turn them around. I was at their match, the end of their match against Ashland, where Ashland scored a late goal to even that up at 1. But Ontario, very, very impressive, and they need to let the momentum from this ride on throughout their schedule because they still got to face a Clear Fork. That's probably going to be the top test in the MOAC. But a win like this out of conference, a Lexington team that lost to Bay 1-0. And I mean, every year Bay's got, they got competitors and players. So if you look at that, Lex plays them 1-0. Ontario plays Lex 3-0. Maybe we have a changing of the guard this year. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see come tournament time. They're still in that same district, but in Peter Tem, I trust. I mean,
absolutely.
He's out there on the sideline. He don't even wear shoes to work. He's just showing up in his flip-flops, throwing them wherever he wants. He's that dialed in and kind of just owns that portion of the state. That pitch is his out there. So really surprising, honestly, to me, that not necessarily that Lexington lost, but that they got shut out in that game.
It's true.
But the goaltending, the MVP from that game clearly was that gentleman in between the pipes for the Warriors. He was fantastic. Listen to his comments after the game right now on the OH Report if you want to go check out his MVP interview with Shane Young. That was awesome, dynamite stuff. So that was my best of the rest from soccer over the weekend. Both of those games going down on Saturday. 2 road wins for Ontario, who also got the win in football. So they kind of own the backyard rivalry this year.
Backyard sweep. I want to stick with soccer real quick and go Tuesday. Ontario girls open up the season hosting Ashland, and it was kind of like the Lexington match where Ontario was just out shooting Ashland. But I talk about this on the live streams all the time. Sometimes all you need is one opportunity to score. Well, that happened twice for Ashland. Ontario peppering the goal early on and just couldn't find the back of the net. It was 0-0 at the break. Second half, Ashland scores after Ontario. 2 tough offsides calls. That the first one, I had it right down the line. It didn't look like offsides. It could have been an Ontario chance to take the 1-0 lead. Immediately, a little bit of a cherry pick. Ashland stayed on sides. They scored to go up 1-0, and that was the score until about 16 minutes left when Hattie Jukovic, who scored in the Lexington match too, just drilled one from about 25 yards out, top corner, tied it up. But then again on a corner, Ashland, maybe their third out of 4 chances they had on the night. Corner, bounced around, header in, 2-1 with about 6 minutes left. But immediately, less than a minute later, Addie Pittman, again, drilled one, top left corner, made it 2-2. That's how it ended. So I think that was a little bit of a momentum shift for Ontario that, it seemed like they were going to let one slip away, even though they outplayed Ashland, but they were able to find a way, and then they turned it into a big win against Lexington. But that was a very impressive game for Coach's squad, and that was a big play early on too. Ashland and the OCC, maybe they're a team to compete with Lexington down there, but Ontario, sometimes you got to win or tie ugly. And that's what the Lady Warriors did. And here comes the clips of the goals here in the second half. But Larry, if you know Coach Larry well, Larry Atkinson, he has a chair that he sits out, and if things are going well, he'll sit down. Did he sit down in the Lex match at all? Did you see him sitting at all?
He took a little time to himself to enjoy it. But
that means things are going well with his team. He was not in that chair at all during that match. But hey, they got the tie, and then they turned it into a win, and still clean on the slate. No losses for the Lady Warriors.
And I like that Larry fully understands what he has right in the middle of the field. Heda Jukovic, she's so gifted, both feet, it doesn't matter. The goal that she had against Lexington, she drilled with her left foot from 30 yards out, right over the keeper's head. And then Addie Pittman, who I think is actually the more skilled player of the two, she kind of needs to set up her left foot, but it's an absolute laser beam when she does. So those two together is going to be special with Sasha, Alina Seif. Hopefully they can get Darby Broom back in goal, and I've got really high expectations. We've been saying this for a few years, I think maybe for Ontario, but now with this collection of talents that they have, these couple of girls in their junior year, I think it's going to be a good one for them.
And then the JV squad, they got some studs on them. I think you might know one of them. You might know personally one of those players scored the first goal of the year for the JV squad.
That's right. Look out for number 5 out there in the JV ranks. I can't name her, otherwise she'll yell at me.
Hi, Aaliyah.
Love you.
Hope you're doing your homework.
All right. One more thing I wanted to jump into as well, because the Tiger Classic up at Seneca East, they do an unbelievable job of hosting these cross-country events. They have a really cool course, and they did 3 different heats. I don't know exactly how many teams were up there. I think about 80-ish. It might have been more. I'll have to check with Matt and see exactly. Matt Schock, who puts these on. He's awesome. We will be there here in a couple of weekends for that Stars and Stripes. I think maybe the best event in the entire state of Ohio for cross country. But Madeline Zizzuto went out there, and she captured the big dogs, if you will. These are the D1s and the D2s all running against each other. And Perrysburg, not only did they dominate for the girls, they also set the tone for the boys. I wasn't sure what to expect from this. Really deep field, a lot of good teams. I think about 30 of the D1s and D2s all competing against each other.
Premier meet.
And at the end of the day, it was Perrysburg really showing out. So wanted to run some of these clips and just show what's out there up in Northwest Ohio. And the boys division, same thing, like I said, for the black. And there it is, K9 Cam. Can we ever not put a dog in a highlight?
That's the second, both cross-country meets we've covered, we've had a K9 Cam. We were down at Northmore, we had a good dog walking around too. I mean, it's perfect. Just don't let, clean up after your dog so none of the runners, get, some stuff all over their shoes. But, this is both the Star Stripes and Lights and this one, 2 premier meets, not only in the area but in the state of Ohio, maybe even in the region. Just the way they put this on, there's some Warriors running out there too. But this is a great meet in Seneca East. Brilliant job putting this stuff together.
Yeah, they do an awesome job. I think as far as our local teams that we keep an eye on a bunch, Ontario was the best finisher for the boys. You see Cloverleaf had a couple of guys up there as well competing, but Perrysburg, top 2 finishers. I think they had like 3 in the top 10 as well. So just a lot of dominance for the Jackets. Not pictured here, though, Travis, in the smaller school run. Will Baker of Mount Gilead. I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on this kid. Let me drop some time on you.
I practiced with him.
Let's see if you even believe these. He dropped a 15-11, okay, on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
He did a 15-15 earlier in the week. So he had 2 separate runs of 15-15 or under. So I heard that. I almost didn't believe it. And I was like, you know what I need to do? I'm going to go hit the streets because now, granted, I'm old. I'm twice his age. But I get complimented all the time. Brian, you're pretty fast, blah, 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 blah. I stopped the watch at 15:11. I did not even make it to 2 miles. And I was running about as hard as I could.
So on my walk today, my good old Apple Watch tells me it took me 16:40 to walk a mile.
Yeah, he's not walking.
No, I'm just saying, for me to walk a mile, and he still beats me by over a minute. That's crazy. That's
context,
nuts.
buddy. That's
Yeah.
really impressive stuff. And I had a couple of uphills, but they deal with it too. And I stopped it, and I was like a little ashamed of myself. I'm gonna go hit the streets a little bit harder tomorrow. I haven't really had the same type of want to or the need to get out and run. I've been doing a little bit of walking too, probably on your same pace. But I heard those times, and I felt like I needed to prove something to myself. How far can I run in that same amount of time? Not very far. So kudos to all of the winners out there, but Will Baker from Mount Gilead looks like he might be the top contender to win a Division III state championship, and they've had a few of them.
Yeah, and we also, just kick off our coverage on Monday, we had the Northmore cross country meet.
Yes.
And who was from Loudonville? Tess Schultz.
Yep.
Her third straight championship at the Northmore meet. So maybe another name down there in the small school ranks that could possibly make some noise. But yeah, cross country runners already, really showing out, and they've had good weather too. It's going to get really hot here in the next couple of days, but the Northmore meet was 20 degrees cooler than it usually is, so it's really good running weather for these runners. Probably why he ran. Baker ran the 15 15s, 1540s or whatever, but it's just getting them ready. They run this well early on. Can't wait to see what the numbers are when they get to Fortress Obetz.
When was the last time you ran a 5K? Put 3.1 miles underneath the rubber on your shoes.
It was, I want to say it was a Warrior Dash at Clay's Park Resort out past Worcester.
That's like 2016?
27. No, it was 2016. Summer of 2016, yeah.
Think we can get you back on it?
Maybe next spring or summer. I'm getting back to walking. My times are getting down per mile and stuff like that. I'm casually working my way up.
Got a little speed walk going on, like those.
I'm trying to get my goal for this week was getting under 17 minutes for my first mile, which it was 16:55, and then my second mile was 16:40. So I'm trying to get down maybe a 16-minute walk for a mile, and then I'll start speeding things up. But I'm just trying to stay healthy and lose some weight, which has been working.
Yeah, you got to reward yourself, though. Maybe walk to the Taco Bell and then walk back. That might be like a full couple mile round trip for you where you're living in Ontario. It might be perfect.
It's probably about 3 miles.
Good start.
But I want to go across traffic. There's Lex Spring Mill Road right there.
Well, that's the one place where you got to pick it up just a little
Play
bit.
Frogger.
Yeah, bonk, bonk. You saw what happened, though, if you get hit.
If you can dodge traffic, you can dodge a ball.
That's it.
Right?
Well, hey, good return, I think, to the podcast. I saw quite a few comments coming in.
Great guests.
Lot of votes here coming in on the top plays in the phenoms.
We still doing double dip for...
Got the
double dip, right?
So I'm going to give you about one more minute here. If you want to get in some last-minute votes.
Yeah.
Number 1 through 10 on both the top plays.
Well, let's talk for a minute. College football starting up. Ohio State. Big, tough matchup in week 1, huh?
Yeah, we got the Zips coming to our place, though, so that'll certainly help in all Ohio battle. But,
just avoid the upset.
Expectations, I think, for the Buckeyes, of course.
I've heard this is on all the gear. This is the best squad you guys have had since early 2000s.
The only thing I don't like is that we didn't have a quarterback on the roster in the system last year that's actually going to play. Will Howard.
I've seen him in the Big 12, though. I mean, he's a dog.
Beast. Not going to discount that. I just, I guess it hasn't mattered for some of the other Buckeyes that have come in the transfer portal, like we saw with Justin Fields and stuff. It worked out right away. So I could not be more ecstatic to have college football back this weekend. And then the NFL a couple weeks from. Well, shoot, they're kicking off on Thursday.
Yeah, I'll be wearing my Steeler jersey next week, but Mountaineer jersey. We got Penn State coming in Morgantown. This is the biggest home opener we've had since 1998 in the Kickoff Classic when we played number 1 Ohio State.
Whew. How'd that go?
We shot ourselves in foot, lost by 17. Ohio State, you guys went on. Was that the year that you got Heisman in the Michigan game?
17?
98.
1998. No, that was Charles Woodson's year.
Yeah.
You're thinking, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, I mean,
great memories from the past.
But it's a big game. I know I'll be able to watch the first maybe two and a half quarters and then come down and call that Clear Fork Norwalk match with you, so
I'm
I
sure
may
you'll
be a
keeping
little.
an eye.
I
I'll
may
carry
be
the
a little.
broadcast.
I'm going to do my job, but I'm going to still have one eye on that game, especially if it's close. If we can keep it close, this is a make or break year for the Mountaineers after what we did last year. 9 wins, bowl win. If we can't keep the climb, as they call it, I don't know. But yeah, another great week of coverage coming up for us, right?
Indeed. So keep it locked in right here. We're going to have live streams every single day. We got Coach's Corner Show. Buckeye Central will be our first guest coming up on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And, tons more action Thursday, jam-packed Friday.
Tomorrow.
Doubleheader on Saturday. So
Mount Gilead volleyball tomorrow.
Much to come. Much to come right here on the OH Report. Keep it locked in. Last second votes. You're done with. Show's over. See you soon.